Good evening. Call to order, excuse me, the special meeting of the County Board of Selectmen for Tuesday, March 5th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. Thank you. Okay. Any public comment on agenda items as they've been at least outlined here? No. Hearing no comments or requests for comments, we'll go right into our budget discussions for the evening. We'll start with number 3.1, which is public safety. We don't have anyone here from the public safety department, but we do have their background material. Any questions regarding the salary or the dentals that are included in this year's budget? We did get information.
Is it in the support documents? I forgot this.
Yeah, we do have support documents to the letter.
What's the number for
that? Right towards the end. Yeah, we did have support documents for that. They are online.
For clarification, who's public safety? That's a category, that's not a department.
Yeah, he's talking about the police.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Part of that, right?
Do you know the number, Joyce?
157.
What is it?
No, 257.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Police protection.
Yeah, the updated one, we did have the 40% for the overtime for the price. The information from that from Barbara was that Fisher last year didn't either record or need the bill since he didn't have that much overtime. So we went back 2 years to get the percentage we had 2 years ago for overtime as a comparison.
This actually includes, does it include all overtime or is it just
It's just
sort
a
of
percentage.
guesstimate?
Yeah, you wouldn't know actually until we. I sent another email to, I don't know if you had a chance to see that. It said, request a report reflecting police overtime paid in the fifth period. The attached in the shared folder, the annual invoice comes in and looks at the total. It's split out of all overtime, so we pull annual invoices for the past 5 years, which she didn't have available to her, or she is. But yeah, you did have the attached how she did the actual police number, police correction for number 257.
These are just the budgeted numbers? Am I understanding that correctly? Or this is the actual numbers? Police protection, actual versus budget.
Last year was
It's confusing the way she's labeled the columns. They all say budget.
well, there's two actuals and it was year to date. 24.
No. In the detail that she's given us,
Yeah.
she calls it actual versus budget, but it's each column is labeled budget.
She knows this. Did what? This was.
It's in the supporting documents for the police protection. The overtime information that is.
Part will be at tomorrow's meeting, and I thought you guys were going to talk about it tomorrow because you're going to consider the request from Andy Oster's request. So I thought that was at tomorrow's meeting. So I I myself didn't look at that today, because I thought you were talking about police protection tomorrow.
Stalling our leader here.
It was on our schedule, so I thought we just didn't discuss it. Okay. All right, we can, postpone this till tomorrow then. Pick it up then. Barbara will be here tomorrow, so if there are any questions. Any additional questions? Please have one question we got now. That as well. Yeah, I'll go with that. Okay, let's go ahead.
Just, Joyce, would it be possible for you to dig out the information that they had last year about overtime? Because they did some of that research, last year's budget. That would be helpful to at least look at that. You don't have this year's.
Okay.
So what's next?
Good. Next on the list is the planning and zoning. Yep. Kick it off with any statements?
Yeah, no, I think we tried to hold the line this year. We actually did a little bit of decrease because the council was enough to provide funds for the online permitting system last year, and part of that was implementation, so we were able to take that out of the budget. I provided a narrative. I think it was kind of clear. I don't know if you have any questions for anything that was provided. That the narrative covered all land use, so that was planning and zoning, PBA, and wetlands. Donna's here to speak to building. We get to that portion.
Any questions on?
I thought your narrative was one of the best we got.
Any questions on DBA? No. Building, it's very clear. Any everything?
Same building, we drop it down, because last year we included a portion of the implementation costs for OpenGov. And so now we'll just get stuck with the monthly or the yearly payments for that instead of the full implementation cost. So that's why we dropped. We also dropped postage because we're not going to be mailing out permits anymore. Everything is being emailed, so we really don't have anything in the building department with the postage. We still have to send out land use letters, sometimes via certified mail.
Yeah, that's very expensive.
And that's
so we're kind of trapped into that. That's part of regulations and statutes. So there's really no way to get out of that.
Yeah. So for the time being, our postage is just going to be money to be lower than what we budgeted, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Any other questions? Just appreciate you guys' efforts in putting this on again. Yeah. Okay. And we should run that, and then we're gonna move to the next one, which building fire marshal.
Our line items stay pretty much the same, except we're asking for monies to be put into institute a new online inspection program. The startup cost would be $500 and the annual fee would be $4,000. There's some monies in there for an iPad and some other miscellaneous items. This will allow us to do better scheduling of our permits and all of our inspections, give the customer better notification, and also include pictures with violations. They'll get a report that same day while we're on the scene. And it's a lot of places are going to that type of a inspection program. And we're hoping to do the same. My deputy Tim uses this same program down in Richfield as part of what that he does there as a deputy.
Would this also reduce some of the revisits? And again,
I'm sorry?
Would this help reducing any of the revisits that you might have to do? Go back out?
No, it would help manage going back to those places to do better redos for items that are still outstanding. Better follow. Better understanding on the part of the people that you've done the inspection for. They'll hopefully better understand what their violations are.
So Stan, does this have anything to do with like, do they still do NFIRS reports or?
The fire department does the inverse reports right at the moment is because it's part of their program they utilize to when they come back and make their after report from a call. All of the information, or most of the information that they generate goes into the inverse report.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. You know, I always like the idea that we can bring some technology into play, and especially, and we've seen how well it's worked in other parts of our town. Yeah, very so yeah, I'm in favor of doing that for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure it's gonna bring a lot of efficiency.
Sorry.
I'm sure it's gonna bring a lot of efficiency to your office.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just it'll move me out of the dark ages. Just ask your husband.
Sure. Exactly. But yeah, we appreciate the movement toward that. I mean, nothing's getting easier when you have to file paperwork, and having a better filing system more online. It helps them. Helps it handle a lot too, or depend too much on paper.
I will be a lot happier because now I won't have anywhere near as many papers on my desk.
Yeah, that's what it involves.
What will that line item be next year?
The maintenance, I think
Just the maintenance?
I think it's the maintenance. That's
How much is that? So you got an idea?
Yes, he just lined that up.
You said 4,000 a year.
Yeah, annual fee is 4,000. In the setup, cloud-based fire setup. I'm sorry.
Okay, so there's a little bit less next year.
Yeah. Should be. But like anything else, there's always this thing. Okay. Any other questions? Thank you very much, Dan. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Kent, are they online?
Ed is on, I'm not sure, I'm not sure who's presenting tonight.
Either John and Russell told me he was not being able to be here tonight, so I assume it would be Alan and or Bonnie. EMS. It's part of the public safety piece.
And Bonnie's not on either.
Yeah. Okay. I know we had a lot of questions you guys too, and I sent some additional ones. Just thought kind of be some good to some.
Do we have anybody else on our agenda?
No.
Uh,
It's not the you know, actually.
Well, maybe we could talk
discuss something
about,
else.
we could talk about the police in concept of,
Second.
yeah, the second trooper versus overtime.
I did tell Andy Olson that you were gonna talk about that tomorrow.
We could reiterate our discussion.
He asked and that was the plan, so I
That's okay, no.
Is there anything else?
Well, I mentioned we did put in the $50,000 that you guys an email on that. That was, we've been trying to figure out how we better implement a more improved Zoom system so we can talk to people and record and actually not feedback and so on. So that was the initial estimate that they sent us is going to be in that $40,000 to $50,000 range. Now that was because we can't modify this. If I could put a receiver in and put the desk, you know, wireless desk mics, we'd do that or something, but that's not what this system can do. It's an older system, it's fixed, and it doesn't take Wi-Fi system to it. Even though it says on it's a second camera, even the second camera idea where we could have it focusing and do split screens so like that, it doesn't fit into the system they built here. So,
But have we, you've talked to us all along, but you haven't given us a lot of details. Have you talked to different people
I did.
other than the people who installed it?
yeah, I told you we had two groups come in. One said they don't do it. They'd have to get someone else to do it. We talked to Logitech. They said we're behind on producing materials for doing this, but it would be an expensive thing to redo it all. to change what you have to something else. You have to do something, you have to do something different. Take the old system out and bring a new system in. So that's as far as we got. And we said, okay, we need ideas and plans. And this is unfortunately vendors have been slow in returning anything. They've been here twice, 3 times. We've had people come here, we look at it all and talk about it, but actually getting a presentation, getting anything there. So I did, as I said in my email, I just threw it in there to talk about it, let you know, this is something that we're not gonna be able to get done in the budget time we have now. So we'll have to go back, and if we really want to do it, right? And the town wants us to do it, then we'll go back and probably do something more specific with the.
I feel really uncomfortable sticking $50,000.
Agreed, I'm gonna take it out, I put it in there.
Detail about what it is gonna be. I mean, I don't even know, I honestly, because of the way this originally was handled, I think it wasn't handled that well. We spent a lot of money for something that doesn't work very well.
Well, it worked for the time it was slowly getting in. I heard what you said. We're only trying to get that. Now we put, like I said, I put it in for, I said, go ahead and put it in for us to discuss, but it isn't gonna something that we're gonna keep it. I don't have the detail. That's what I said. I can't, and I totally agree with you. We can't go forward and present that to anyone without specific nickels and dimes and a breakout of exactly what it would take. But just for our discussion purposes, I want to let you know what in the ballpark of what we're hearing is 40, 50 grand. That's what these things cost nowadays. This was 20, almost 25, I believe, for what we have now back then. And
But back then was like 21 or 22.
Right.
It's not like it's that old.
So this system is more out of the box. It was just a very standard system and it does not allow a lot of add-ons, as Marty said. So we can't add wireless microphones. It's a very canned system and it's not really set up for a room of this size, but it was what was available during COVID. So that's what we installed and hope that we can make it work. I mean, as you know, we tried to move the microphones several times. We've changed out locations of things. What the new company has looked at is they come in and they design a custom system so they can add as many microphones as you need, multiple cameras with multiple, so on the screen you'll see like the camera here and the camera there. It's a lot more sophisticated. It allows add-ons and it's custom for this room. It's taking into account that there will probably be some sound barriers on the walls that will be discreet and not, some just like egg crates taped to the wall and that sort of thing, which is, what we were looking at for this system. So it's a complete package based on visions. What we're stuck with in this room, the cathedral ceiling, the hard surfaces. So they've looked at it and they have different options within that for us. And that's what they're putting together. But as they look, since they've come out, there's some other new products that they're trying to put into the quote, and that's what's causing some of the delay.
Part was this budget, actually get it. That's the other thing. I don't want to give us a budget item and then tell us it'll be here in a year. And then something else comes. That's the problem we have. With the CEN, just that, it's fiber. Fiber is everywhere. It's being put in all the time. But they had what CEN is trying to do for the buildings for the towns. It's just taken 4 to 6 months. And they have the lead on supply. So, but yeah, it won't stay in. I agree. I just and we discuss it.
Is there any way you can write up what you just verbally said? I mean, can you give us anything like that?
Sure.
I mean, and so you're saying that we couldn't like remove these microphones and put wired microphones in front of people? That would not be.
These are the microphones that come with this system. I mean, so you could put them, but the problem is, and believe me, this is out of my element on the specifics, but some microphones collect noise in one way and some in a different way. And so these are not going to be optimum for this room, regardless of where they're located, because of the way that they collect the sound and pick up the background noise. The new proposed microphones are a different type, and so they won't bounce up to the ceiling, bounce back, so that there's a lot of background and reverb for the people on Zoom as well as in the room. They'll also project your voices in the room. So, if Matt can't hear me, but I'm sitting here, it will project in the room as well as on the Zoom. So it's a lot more sophisticated, but I don't know all of the technicalities. I mean, That's not my expertise, and he's here, he's $20, and it will, be in the estimate, but I'm happy to put something in writing, I guess, but I don't know what your comfort level is gonna be, because they don't have the figures yet. I have a ballpark, because they are waiting on, as I said, there's some additional equipment that I'm not even sure what it was that he's looking at to add to the quote, or give us options.
Yeah, it's getting the room prepared to handle a directional microphone so we can direct our voice into it on the table. You know, wired or otherwise.
It's our intention to put this in this budget to give some Board of Finance, because.
Well, that was a thought, if we could get there. I mean, it doesn't seem good to get there.
It seems like tomorrow, we said, just got something done, you didn't want to have another meeting, you weren't complete, if we can, complete it tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely. That's why we'll take it. I mean, this will have to be a supplemental that we'll go at another time. And then that's, you know, if we can agree together, but the Board of Finance and us, and it's important for the room, you know, and all the other activities that occur here and everybody that does come and use it, which seems to be a bit more. But we also want to be able to repurpose some of this equipment upstairs in that conference room so it's a smaller conference room. You know, we're gonna
Yeah,
get the.
probably work fine.
Exactly.
They believe that that will be much better for it to work in.
Yeah, that's what they told us.
A small meeting room where you can.
Yeah, in January, my first guy, I met with a group, and I think Joyce had talked to him already, and I said, well, where was it built for? He said, your room upstairs. I'm like, oh, great. He said, but this is what we had in the box, this is what we had ready to go. So, yeah. And then, you know, that's last time, but we can go back and beat that, you know, but we don't. But anyway. Okay, so anyway, we will remove that. You still want to talk about the second trooper and philosophical, and then we can talk to Andy about it. Request tomorrow.
I don't know, what do you think?
I'm ready. I mean, I think in our board meeting the other night, our regular meeting, we talked about the idea of traffic safety and looking at the potential for cameras and talking with the state troopers that patrol and others. They like that idea as well to supplement what their troopers can do. We know that numbers of troopers are down. Number of academy, you know, applications are down. So trying to get more people out on the road and then do other things that they'd like to do, like a resident trooper or troopers doing all the other requirements they have to do in the state. This is a thing that they're very much supporting. And obviously by the legislature, one of the reasons the legislature approved this was this is a way for towns like us to be able to reach out and get a safety program. So for Andy's request, and so just again, overall, the second trooper, what part of that request was to handle some of the speeding and some of the other activities to get more out of patrol. And we know, at least from the month and a half or 2 months we've had our current resident trooper, she has really been out there. I mean, everybody kind of anecdotally talked about people saying, hey, you should just kind of get out of my driveway and drive down the road. Now I actually have to look and stop, and you know, because I saw the trooper there, or there's another trooper there, and people are becoming aware. So I think even just looking at that and putting it together with the idea of a traffic camera, a speeding camera or speed camera, it's kind of that makes people think. You know, I'd like to be able to believe that when they see, you know, like your speed signs that we have out now on Elizabeth Street, and they're aware that they're going 35 and 15, that they really do care. Unless there's some backup, you know, and get anecdotally, but I live there. They don't slow down sometimes, and that's and I know if I get running, because I stop out in the middle of the road and say, hey, could you please slow down? And but anyway, but the philosophy, I think, a part of the second trooper. Now, if there's other reasons why the second trooper, we have, you know, more ideas. Well, what the second trooper could do, you know, so there's nothing we can't discuss. But if partly it's that, I think that's not to look at that in a serious, and I think it's a serious approach to how we can do speeding anyway, and then freeing up. I mean, our current resident trooper that we have now likes to get on the road. That's great. She has we meet every month or Fridays at 9 now, and she has a list of the number of people she stopped, how many, you know, tickets she has given. Prefer right now to be giving warnings because she's new here, but she's giving out tickets, and she's here on weekends. She's coming at the events. She's quite an outreach person in the school. I mean, the kind of thing that I know, you know, Andrew did, other troopers have done, but you know, has that motivation to really do that. So as a follow-up to what we're doing now, or as a follow-up to what we're doing, trying to hire the new trooper, did talk to Sergeant St. John. they're in a oral, they haven't set up their oral review yet, so they still have their candidate pool and they haven't done their boards yet. It's a long, slow process, unfortunately. So they're not ready to say, well, here's what we think are some candidates for you to look at. So that's what I'm hoping they'll do once they get to their board. So as far as getting a new trooper assigned permanently, we're still not there yet. Probably about 2/3 of the way through, maybe. He didn't put it on. I like to put a number on it. He said, well, maybe that's okay. That's about right. So he didn't tell me how many. He didn't want to say how many he had because he wasn't sure what they would cut down and if somebody would withdraw because of another opportunity or whatever. So anyway, and they're more formal because they're union. They're more formalized work with the union. So I respected his. But yes, we are in the process. We will be cutting. That was in the process. So
Well, that's good.
yeah, because I know that when Andrew came in and Fisher came in, Bruce did get a little bit more involved, and that was good. So I used that and say, hey, we have the president, and like I said, this sergeant there, Sergeant John, is very open. He takes my calls. There's not a lot of, I'll get back to you later on that. He tells me what he could tell me. So that's as far as where we're going to be set up for this year. I think we'll be fine. I think obviously we're doing something that's going to be really good, and just so. If you look at what the potential cost could be, and they're in the $20,000 to $25,000 range for the camera, that's a lot there. You just look at, and like I said, when we get contacted about the company about bringing some of their equipment in and coming in for any kind of hearing or discussion, you can just to the board, they'll have all this information. There's a website I can send you to as well, just to look at their company. I gave Rick the brochure I had just so he could look it over just to see. It's pole mounted or there's a trailer thing for the camera, but everybody thinks pole mounted is best. It's more stable and it would go in concert with what their your speed limit is signs. So we're going to be bringing information off those signs as well. That's our plans to show times of heavier traffic and things like that. So yeah. And those signs can be moved up the pole. They can move from one pole to another. So I think I kind of give you an overview. We have to go with the state and say, here's our plan to use 7 and 341 as our two intersections. And then any other town road, of course, it's up to us to decide that. All has to be done through an ordinance, which is fine. And they help us with the ordinance, actually with the wording and all that stuff. So we'll run it by attorney development, make sure it's all.
But how many cameras would we need?
I think it's starting with 1 because it is movable. The other part, the other part is part of the budget or the discussion of speed cameras overall was the issue with Lake Warmont, road around Lake Warmont.
Right, that's
So
what started doing that fast.
right. So tomorrow I'm meeting with Greg LeCava from Warren and Jim Britton from Washington to see what they have to do. I mean, we have a smaller area. I don't know if the traffic there, because of the state park and it's a little more regulated on traffic flow, if we have had that much of a problem. We don't have any data, who's been stopped on that part of the road that might concern us. But if we go in partnership, potentially with a weight camera and move it around there, if we have a percentage use of that camera, that could be 1, and then say a third, or we get 3 months worth out of year or something like that, or whatever. And then we could use that as a supplemental camera at times when it's important here in Kent area. Start a school when maybe Lake Warmont isn't as busy, people leave for the summer, or holiday times here, supplement with our time on that camera. Sure, we haven't really talked about anything more yet, except the idea of the cameras. That was what now I think we're going to talk a little bit more about. What were some of the ideas of how to do a camera sharing thing? We do 2 cameras or something like that. They buy 1, we share with 1 or something. I don't know. I don't know.
Are you thinking that they're going to want us to pay a full third?
That's what I want to. I don't. I've already told them. I don't think just generally talking, guys. Hey, we don't do a third of the traffic through our part of the small part that's our road. However, we're willing to look at. If we get use of it, there might be something. If a third of a camera, we get a third of a camera for a year, right? That's 4 months. And if it costs us, a third of 24,000 or something, that's 8,000. And if we do get the second camera, we're doing it for 33 to 35,000, some of that range. 2 cameras, and then we can buckle up and first be safety, right? And then actually find people and get the process going. Just run the numbers. If you do 40 or
20, 30, 40 a week, and you start projecting that over the year, and some of the higher summer times when more people are here, motorcycles are going through, people are speeding, you could get up to 3,000, 2,500, 3,000 a month, potentially in a small town like this. Over, say, 8 months, you have that, then you drop down to 500 or something. But there's almost the price of the camera in a sense, some feed or some return on the investment. And there are, and I don't have that data right here, but there are certain things that money can be actually applied towards, and that's road improvement, speed improvement, enforcement improvement, whatever. It could be more overtime towards for a second trooper or whatever. I mean, that money can be used that improving a road, if it's whatever it may be. It kind of was an amorphous road improvement. I didn't really know what that meant. It may mean something different in a town, like another stop sign or something, but maybe not. See really where that would affect you too. But if there's an improvement in the road at a corner, a different sign you want to put, say, North Kent coming down off the end of the cobble and zipping down around on that part, that's always I always have to make sure it's my speed and make sure I get it down before I hit into congregation for sure, but before that. And then the other side, same, coming up 7 or down 7 or 30, 41.
So what if we put 20,000 in the police protection budget with the intent? I mean, the thing is if we don't fund it, then we have to go to a town meeting. Of course, we're gonna have to go to a town meeting anyway, because there's no ordinance.
So that's why I wasn't anyway, like I said.
Yeah.
It's like, we've been actually, the company's been good at bringing us information on why they're the best, showing us different. I think I mentioned there's other companies that buy there and then they lease them back. There was one that, they actually showed us the website of another company that bought their cameras and then trying to lease it to us for twice the amount over 2 years. It's ridiculous. It makes sense. But
Do we want to put $20,000 into a budget where we don't have an ordinance for this?
No,
we don't have that. It's ordinance.
But I was just
Particularly
thinking,
ordinance first.
but that's.
I mean, we could put money for overtime in there, and then if we do this, then we don't actually need to do the overtime.
That's
because the
true.
cameras are doing what
That's
we're
true.
hoping the
That's-
overtime would do.
That's the way. That's the way. That's you're right. That's the way.
I would go 25 just in case. I just,
No, that's good.
So, yeah.
Now, in your new role, have you been able to see more data? Data of what is actually happening with the police? Because I know you made an FOI request.
Right.
Which you
About the
eventually got.
number, yeah, that's when I found out that we in our town had no tickets or warnings issued that are being recorded for quite a period of time. Andrew was more of going out and talking to people than actually reading the book.
Okay.
And that was the thing. And also the overtime, that was a piece that I was a little surprised to see that either he was just showing up for it out of the goodness of his day, but he wasn't registering overtime. Right? We looked at that and it was like very little. That's what Barbara, I think she mentioned, even said that. I mean, Andrew was more of I think he considered himself like part of the community, and it wasn't, he even told me that he felt that his role was more just talk to people, which is great. He was spending less time in the school. He wasn't going to classrooms like we have now. And when we had the discussion, and he was like, well, I don't know, maybe I've been here too long. Maybe I need that, that was part of, well, maybe I missed, or I'm too comfortable here. Maybe I don't look at it. And I said, well, it's up to you. You let me know what you think. And that's when he came and said, I need to move.
Because I mean, when he first started, he gave the town data.
Oh.
He was giving a report every month that was part of the first selectmen's report.
Okay. Well,
So things like tickets. And
right, stuff like that, yeah.
Investigations and all that kind of stuff, and it just stopped.
Yeah, and he was working, I know, on 2 investigations from the time we came in through, and he didn't give me any information on exactly what they were at first, and with everything else going on, I didn't really pursue it, but I didn't hear anything more than just those. I mean, he may have been doing other things as well, but he wasn't on the road, he wasn't not patrolling as much. He was doing the admin time, they call it the 9 to 5, more or less during the week, just so he could do the paperwork.
Yeah.
And an investigation, and that was about all I got out of it, unfortunately. And then when we had that discussion after the holidays, but he was around. I mean, we saw him, but he tended to have his routine, and he liked that routine. And
Speaks to the need to just change up your resident trooper period.
I agree.
Because the exact same thing happened with Keith Asper before.
Yeah, right, yeah.
He got, I mean.
We knew where he was all the time,
Yeah,
and
I
that
know.
wasn't a good thing. But yeah, I mean, even Andrew said on his way out, you know, when we said our kind of checkout thing, he said, yeah, maybe 5 years is the max. You should stay in this one. You know, you can go out, maybe come back if you really like the community and to do something, but you get still, I mean, and that, you know, when you feel like you've gotten too close to people and you really hesitate to, you know, holler at them or give, I mean, he told me my mother-in-law, which I thought was great because she does not pay attention sometimes. Not that she doesn't drive, I love her, but there were times when she admitted, you know, I forgot that there's a, you know, traffic or a single lane ahead or whatever, and she'd go in there and all of a sudden slow down and he saw her go through some kind of thing and pulled her over, which was great, but.
To reiterate what you said earlier, is Vicky has been around in different places. I mean, I have noticed, and many other people have noticed too. Oh, there's a trooper on the bridge.
Right.
I
Yeah.
can't school. Yeah. Oh, there's a trooper here.
Yeah.
So yeah. So you can see the difference already.
And she responded. I've had 2 calls in the last 2 weeks from somebody said, "Hey, is there any way we can get our resident trooper to come down and check out this area because they're really going fast." North Kent was a big one, you know, Kent Falls, and so next day she was up there. I called her. Can you? She goes, "Yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to school for this, but what time?" Did they tell me what time? I said, "Well, they didn't. One of them did. It was like in the morning." And I said, "No, it was just it was busy in the afternoon, and it was just you thought it was too many people." That was down on 341. Maybe down in Henson's office or so many people coming in there. So she went down there and she goes, "Okay, I'll check in the afternoon and the morning, you know, to make sure both." Now, I'll find out later, you know, if she gave any warnings or pulled people over. Like I said, she's been trying to, only those you know, people that get a little attitude or, you know, like really, and they don't want to understand, hey, you got to slow down and all that stuff. If somebody's cooperating and she feels in her judgment and she's been on the force for a while, but, you know, so give them a warning and give them a chance, but a warning, there's a written warning, which they register. Otherwise.
So you said years ago that the Board of Selectmen would get monthly reports.
We don't have to get that.
Can we insist on that again, please?
Absolutely. I'll put that in.
It'd be nice to have some data.
I would like
Sure,
data.
I agree.
On it. It doesn't have to be monthly necessarily, but.
We'll get it monthly, and there's not
be monthly.
variety that goes on, and just what I'm seeing and all the other reports. There was an incident in the, you know, affordable housing projects on Sunday that was dealt with. She was not there, but I got a text from her right away that someone else was in an incident. And then that trooper that responded called me right away to let me know that had been taking care of what was going on. It was really good. But she also, I found out from the trooper yet, in Vicky, you know, said, hey, call him and said, hey, call me. Here's his cell phone. Let him know what's going on. So again, that's kind of follow-up. It's really good. But yeah, we should, that's good. I'll make sure that we get that in the report.
I would insist because so many people have said to me, so where's the trooper? What's going on? And
Well, again,
you know, and there's only so much of that as well. I get that, but
true, but
if we have something in hand that we can give to the public, that's she or, you know.
Well, again, for requests like Andy's, we understand the speeding because everybody, you know, we all see that there's an issue sometimes with people going too fast. We hear it. I'm sure you get on your end, I get on the other end. Yeah, and that kind of data is good to know. And so if there is a decision at some point, maybe we can, and who knows, maybe we'll have 10,000 more, no, we'll end up people here, again, young people know that not just visitors, but other people living here that would benefit from something more than.
And having this data will give us something to go on if someone says to us, we should have a second trooper.
And here's why, here's
why. So.
Or they say, here's a great thing that we've done because it's reducing, we've noticed a slowdown traffic, things are good, you know, get the resident trooper the right one out and about, so people feel like they're being served, right? Okay, absolutely.
So we will continue this discussion tomorrow.
Again.
Do we know if there's a call that might be prohibiting them from coming?
I texted them, like I said, the treasurer was trying to respond to some of my questions that he seemed to get a little bit late. The president I had sent last week when we said, what day can you do it? And he said, at evening instead of during the day, but I never have to look this up because it was work schedules and so on, which you get to understand.
Is the fire chief coming? Or was it just,
Bonnie, anyone, or
was it John Russell, or you said?
John Russell couldn't
not?
make it. He told me last week that he thought he would have to work, and then he sent me a note back today. He goes, yeah, I'm not working, I'm working, we get his.
So you're corresponding with Eric?
I did this afternoon, yeah. Well, I thought that, okay, be honest, I went to the chief and the president of the fire department and said, here's some questions we have, you know, financials, other information, budget areas and so on. And I got an email back saying, yeah, that's gotta go to the treasurer. Okay.
Oh, so the treasurer's coming?
No,
No?
he can't make it for tonight. Right, so sorry, okay, so here's.
It sounds like they said they didn't say they were sending somebody.
Okay. They told me that copied Erica, which I believe is the bookkeeper over there. Bookkeeper. This was today. Back, I appreciate the questions. John said he might not make it. I'll not be able to attend tonight. Eric, as he should be included on campaign financial aiders, understand. He said, and that's didn't say anything about him, about fire chief or anyone else attending. Eric said, oh, I just heard about this, that we're on the book by Jennifer tonight, but on the agenda last week because of at the evening, you know, during the day. Okay, I just said thanks, but no email back saying there's nobody to attend. And because we talked about it, and the whole reason was that Bonnie was going to be working until around 6. So we said 6:30 then. Back on those emails. We talked to her after, what was the meeting?
I talked to her after the Board of Finance
And I
meeting.
talked to her
Could you
about that.
just put in
Yes,
writing
right.
what you just told me verbally?
Right.
Because she basically the way she explained it to me was she just made a calculation based on averages, what the EMS staffing would be.
Okay.
And like what it has been and then projecting forward.
Right, exactly.
It could be off, you know, has happened before, so.
So they're not here tonight. Tomorrow, probably not
What
either.
we get tonight?
What do we do?
Well, they've given us a number.
They've given us-
It's just they haven't given us any kind of supporting
Fire
information.
department is flat. I mean, that's just, or not flat.
Yeah, the fire department.
Chain, but EMS is.
I'm fine with that, yeah.
And it was a week ago. Right?
Yeah, it
And I
was.
talked to Bonnie and say, hey, what do you need, you know, follow on for us? You know, can I get you our budget and to get you in here, give us your input on EMS? I talked afterwards about, you know, when do we have to actually have our budget here? Can I wait till Monday, at least till I get back from vacation? She said, that'd be fine.
Well, I mean,
But then, just.
what it is, I mean, they're making a calculation based on, I mean, I just was curious to see how it all worked out.
Right, and I guess the question like, okay, so if you have an ambulance run and, you know.
But we need
you
to
don't
see,
charge for it,
but we need to
you
see
can't pay
something, you know, so if they can't be here
They
tomorrow.
did, they gave us the thing of, this is how much money we need.
I saw that.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, we're okay with just that.
We can, I'll see I'll take you, if nothing else, they can get us some written.
If they can get us something written by tomorrow, I'll feel so much better.
Here's Gary.
Very hot, but you can't speak to EMS.
I would need it. You know, again, it's not too much.
I would insist that they give us something by tomorrow so we can talk about it and have something.
But what are you, I mean, the thing is, for me, it was just, I was curious as to how they figured it out. I was
Me
purely
too.
curious, because like, we need to have EMTs,
We can-
and we need to pay for
And
EMTs.
this is my
So-
third time around, I know all this, but still, like doing this, it's like, I need a little more.
I think when we with them put in, we might try to be more actual.
Yeah.
Because of what, you
Yes.
know, we get every month. In our report from the treasurer, how much it, you know, we've gone over. What we've projected, and I think that's what we used, and that's what Barbara's calculated, but we're gonna try to do the actuals, but we don't have the background to find the actuals. which is what you.
Yeah,
asked
they,
about.
and they haven't really shared the actuals this year.
Exactly, only what we get
Previous
that
years
month.
they did, they shared it to the Board of Finance.
Yeah, and all we have in our monthly is the treasury report about how much they've gone over the line that they had last year, which was obviously inadequate, but it was the number that they pulled, right? They had 240, it was at 230, whether that, and that's the budget up this year was.
But part of what happened was that they told a figure, and I can't remember if this was last year or before. But the town was hesitant to go as high as they wanted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's part of the reason why it's
Right.
gone over.
Exactly, because they didn't, that's why, and I think that's when it went, so it went from the 230 went up at 140 last year, 230 actual to 320 was based on what we were seeing, projecting every month, what Barbara had as the budget, you know, the amount they had budgeted for, the amount that they were over, and the projected for the year. That was her starting number. Okay, it's 320. It looks like that's where we'll start. But that's what we'll put in until they give us more information. Either they agreed to that amount. I mean, we saw just their number because they agreed to that amount, but no background.
Can I ask, did they send us the budget? You know, did they actually send it?
That's what I asked for, but I hadn't seen it. That's what
They just approved it.
Yes, right, exactly. Last night, I think it was, right?
I think it's Monday night.
I don't know.
It's
I know,
long
it's
week
today.
already.
I got it.
So it's the beginning.
No,
But it doesn't matter.
no, but yeah, right, exactly. And that was when Eric said, I didn't know that, send that along, but yeah.
They always need to, and they're even supposed to get, they're even supposed to send the 990.
They know.
You know?
They know.
So. Have we gotten anything from the children, nursery school?
Yeah, there's additional
It isn't-
information I put in the, the nursery school?
Yeah.
I didn't see anything more from the nursery school. We have.
What wasn't on my list yesterday? I apologize. I sent you, copied everything. That way.
That was like,
We did-
it was hard, having a hard time remembering everything yesterday.
The chores, we did get more information on that. She was sent another, I guess, maybe it's. I don't know.
Sure, I just transit,
Sure.
the ones that you asked, the paramedic, I got that. I'll call the nursery school tomorrow morning before the meeting to see what I can get, but I didn't know that.
Yeah, my understanding is that they haven't submitted anything. And normally they would have, they would have been one of those groups that had the, you know.
The Kent Community Nursery School?
Yeah, it used to be that the selectmen requested any grant that was over $10,000, that they needed to see the financial budget, the 990, and meet with them.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know why a group would just think that anything had changed.
Well, unless we didn't ask, okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think coming out of this, we're definitely gonna make that and put it in our policy, put it into rate so everybody knows. So, you know, when this was all started, it was like, okay, well, you know, what did you think you need, Marty? And I said, well, this is what I want. I want better explanations. I want breakdowns of people, and that's when the billing team over there did exactly what they did. Others were less. I sent some back, came in late, and then, you know, then we got rolling into it, and I didn't follow up more on it. But I mean, we were getting letters and things like that, grants. I didn't know exactly what else they might have done. I didn't realize the 990. So sorry about that one. But yeah, so they do have one.
Still, they didn't even make a request, right?
Well,
The nursery school?
Kent Community Nursery School. They do.
They did make a request.
Yes, they did. That's for the same 15,000 last year. Yeah.
But they didn't give any supporting.
Nothing more than that.
information.
No, just a happy.
Yeah, that's not-
So that's right. So yeah, no.
Where is the
Information.
budget? You know?
Where does this sit line with it?
You know, well, how much income have they brought in? How much are they spending? I mean.
Yeah, enrollment, the whole 9 yards, all that. It's
Yeah.
important to know. Right.
And we didn't actually do outreach to them and ask them to come in and talk with us?
I didn't realize it was part of it, that
No.
I think 10,000 was there, had been a requirement. It makes sense now, but
Okay. Well, I don't think we can penalize somebody if we didn't ask them to come in.
yeah, true, yeah.
And we didn't ask them we didn't remind them that this is what you need to provide to us.
We have to act on it right now, we can do it
So can we preview tomorrow? What have we actually agreed to here? And what are we looking at for tomorrow?
So. Well, we're gonna review overall all those areas that we didn't touch on, and which is a few, but a few. Some are no more than continuation of what were last year, but I think we did a bit. Any of the associations and the grants, I think we did most of them. Like I said, we do have a follow-on to your request, or our request, but your comment on the, what is it, 67% actually, or 68.67% mean. We did get that, it's a big, because everyone does increase across all the community in their constituency. The cemetery, well, that's right, we did pull that out, but because based on what we talked to other people about, so that's out. 28. Yeah. So what we'll have to do is really do a final breakdown of everything that we do, any changes we want to do, and then decide if, in the case of shores, whether we want to do the 6,000 to 10,000, or even though we've got the explanation, say, well, we only feel comfortable going to 8. I mean, whatever. We'll need to make sure we clean that up.
Can we talk about shore?
Sure. Yes, or should we have any other budget? Should we have?
So we have their funding decreased by 33%. Shore. Their funding decreased.
Oh, their funding decreased, yes, I'm sorry, like you said. Yeah, all across the board, and their initial kind of related some of that, where they were at 8%. Some funding level. But the question is like, okay, so you're asking for a 66% increase. Is it every town that you're asking for?
And they said yes.
Yeah, that was in the second response. I called the doctor today and had to get back with him. He was out of the door. I just want to make sure that any questions he had about the questions we had.
Right, things died. I've been plugged in today. So are we gonna just go with what they've asked for? Or are we thinking we don't? I mean, how did they calculate how much? They just do it by the 13 towns?
Yeah,
everybody does the same amount.
Exactly, and they did it by what they believe is the total loss by the cutting that they had in other areas for their state funding. So they make it up by asking us.
Did you see page 3 here, where she gave you the breakdown at the bottom of the page, where it talks about how many residents use the service, how many people were paid to? That's kind of what the formulary and how they came up with their requests. That page should have been added today.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that. Thank you. This WCAA grant, it's a federal grant? Didn't they say they have federal funding? Western Connecticut Area Agency on Aging. Yeah. Gave them ARPA money last year.
Yes. Or, yes.
Glenn, did you see all the information on the Northwest event?
Back to. So what do we think? We think. Tour service really relies on, obviously, the ability of the individuals that they help to pay or the amount of time that they've had. Amount of time they have someone helping them and they, when they're doing, they also talk about.
They really don't ask for like people to pay the full amount. They ask for a
They do that
donation.
donation, correct,
Yeah.
that's correct.
Because,
People don't, they ask for it, but they not just.
I mean, I think that it's a case of, it's helping the most needy people.
Well, and although it's not.
I mean, it's 17 people in our town. It's
Right.
not like it's 170.
But I'm sure overall, I mean, you know, it
I
depends
don't
on.
think it has. It's been fairly low for many, many years, based on what I've seen in the budgets over the years. Because,
Right.
you know, people hear about it through service, you know, through like Samantha. Samantha would say, you could use these services. It's not like it's not like they're advertising it. And
No, I don't.
you know?
No.
It's going to the people who need it. So, I mean, I don't love the fact that we're having so many increases, but I do think this is a worthy thing, and I know from family experience it is very appreciated.
Right.
I'll say what I said last time. I mean, no, I think, I don't mind having an increase. I think I threw out a number of 8,000. But if we feel like we want to go to 10, I mean, the Cemetery Association lives off of that. As a whole, grants are down because of that. So if we feel like we want to go to 10, I mean, there.
Well,
Just
there.
I don't think so.
I think you did.
Moved around.
I understand. You do that once a year.
I understand. I understand.
I used to try to, well, I'm really paying less on this, right, this month. Like,
Well, I mean, we either keep it flat or we go up a little bit, or go to 10. One of the three. What do you think?
I mean, I have to say they are consistent because the same thing happened to them last year where they asked for money and we cut it. So I would think that there continues to be a need if they continue to ask and we keep cutting it. I mean, just for point of reference.
Yeah.
This is.
It's not like they're not helping
doing
people in
things.
Canada.
Right.
It's not, you know,
Well,
and they're giving us the data, so.
yeah. What do we think?
I'm okay with that. You know, because I thought about that. So, well, percentage increase, 66 in a bit. But then we got back to if they're going to employ someone who can as well, which they have in the past, and there are some people that might be more involved with it to help, then that's a benefit to the town, even though we help the employment side, we also help with the services side. That's kind of, so I'm thinking, all right, I would support that for 10 for the rescue request. Okay. Okay. So, you know, there's a lot of people around here that help, and if someone can help and they can get a little compensation for it as well, that's not bad either. I mean, people do a lot of stuff, you know, I mean, like we're in the Lions and fire department. I mean, everybody sure helps out with something around here, so. Just again, on the Cemetery Association, you see what we did there. Yeah, the operation moving office supplies, we're gonna have to get a computer laptop for them to be able to go around and set things up, stuff like that. We did the 47, including that as the 47 that we took for maintenance, and then the 28 for the salary. It's a fixed salary, so it's not, Barbara asked, I said, per hour, and I said, no, it's fixed. And I just checked, there are some people who apply.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's good. I just want to make sure at least something there, look at what we get back. But no, that's fine. There's more. And like I said, we've done more outreach, you know, like make sure the cemetery, and talk to the crowd being turned up. But gentleman who calls us, and we've done a few things with him, Bob Bauer and others down in
Oh, the different funeral homes?
whatever, yeah, again, saying, and they talk, oh yeah, we heard already. They're always, people are always asking, is they ever hear anything? So they have their own network, everybody. So yeah, so it's kind of, but I don't think it's only, we have another week plus. So there's a couple people I heard might be interested. I haven't seen their, I haven't looked at the app. I just know that person hasn't applied yet. That person that asked about it. So we may have a good tool to look at. Good, got it. So if you're good with that, we can move on. We can kind of.
Did we include anything for the mapping?
That's part of what I think they're going to figure out. There's, I can't follow up, but there's IT in there. There's an IT piece, operation moving office. They'll work out of us for now, I guess, until we find a place for them to be, if they need an actual office or room to work out of. But yeah, I think there's enough for ITGS. I don't know what mapping system they want to use for it. I think they're going to.
They already have one. They already have a contract.
They had a contract. We haven't continued to. That's kind of up to the committee to decide to actually continue that contract.
But I think it would. I mean, in terms of the.
Okay, for the specifics of the
timing,
timing and specific cost, yeah. We'll have to look.
I just want to make sure that, because they've done some amazing stuff there, and it would be sad to not have the money in there to be able to continue.
Well, Johnson had said he'd continue to help with that, so he's going to be available.
But he's getting paid.
Correct, but yeah, and I'll have to look. I'm not sure, but I know we tried to make it. Okay, so if you go 60, 69, is a little bit more over, then maybe not enough.
I was a little unclear when they were rattling off numbers, but I'm not sure they actually understood the numbers when they said.
But don't forget, they also have the money that comes from them that they could tap into, or the department could tap into for some of those kind of expenses. I mean, if they want to continue the mapping, they could take some of the money, I would imagine, from the money that because it's earmarked only for cemetery.
Yeah.
So there's that money that. So, I mean, it'd be the first year, I don't want to over budget too much, or they have that as a backup if they could, if they have the time, they continue that process.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's going to be things, whatever this, I would assume the committee, hopefully, can get that going. I'll put that'll be in the newsletter as well, like, right, let's go. But the sexton still is someone that obviously will be looking for that knowledge of that capability and see what it costs to actually get it going.
So did you read through the so that makes sense. I just want to make sure we have enough. And I hear what you're saying about, I just think that fund, it needs to be very specific what it's going to be used for.
I agree, but that's what they used. I mean, if I heard them correctly, that's what they used, where they got the money from.
Well, they got $3,000 in like donations every year from like members. So I think that's what they were using. The way I have understood is they tapped into the fund when they did special projects in the cemeteries.
Right. And the major renovations, but I thought the
fencing and
right, yeah, that I thought what I heard from Tammy first in the beginning was when she mentioned GS that they tapped into that first for GS and they were able to use donations later.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you looked at their books, they don't have books. And they really didn't. I mean, to be honest with you, they were private associations, so they kind of went what they thought was that they don't. I talked to way back when one time, and they're into it, but it was back at homes and sitting down with phone calls and notes from phone calls of people. It wasn't as strict as we're going to have to be for sure. But I think that's when she said we started with that fund. That's where we had the money to start the GS, and then we found other ways. But never got an actual laid out budget what they used every year yet. We'll check to make sure, but I think we can, as suggested, be able to use that fund if we needed to build the actual office and
I would hope that I hope this sexton's going to work out his home.
Oh, yeah, I would think so too. But they need to come in to filing thing there.
Yeah.
What, visit you and go on the desk or to work here.
Yeah.
They already need office supplies.
Oh, yeah, that would
Yeah,
make
that's
sense.
for sure.
And did you look at the Northwest Connecticut Transit, because they gave us.
Mhm. Yeah, it was pretty, fairly in depth. Did you? Yeah.
I
Take a
didn't,
minute.
just
Go
looking
ahead,
at
take a
it
minute.
now,
Yeah, I know.
but it looks to me like they're hiring more people.
They are hiring, yes, that's what I mentioned,
Right.
and more drivers to be able to get out.
Did they give, I mean, is there information here about, because you were talking about expanding, like sort of expanding the plant. Is that
Right, you
here?
talk about renovating their building, and yeah, that's what you told us when we first said that one.
But is that here? Do you see those numbers? I don't see the numbers that show that. One of those for Kent. I totally understand what I'm gonna hear.
A lot of information.
But does it make sense? I'm having a hard time understanding. I mean, I get the salary information, I get the personnel information, but.
At town cost.
So it makes sense. Page.
So after Torrington, we're the highest.
Yes, because of the. Here.
Are we lumped with Warren? I see Kent, and then it says Kent Warren.
There's no number attached to Warren. It's us. Maybe that's both.
But yeah, I'm saying, because look at the one I had above Canaan,
It can't be,
where it has everybody together.
can't be both towns because we've got 1235 in our budget.
But it could be the route.
There's Wednesday is dedicated to us. Confused as to what he said about if there's room, when he said about the bus, but how many people they would pick up in Warren and how many when they would pick up in Kent.
I don't remember talking about Warren. Why didn't they charge Warren?
I don't know what they charge Warren. I mean, I can't.
It's not showing up on the list here.
Show up on the list.
But then you say 0 rides for Barkhamsted, Sharon, and Warren.
Yeah, that's a lot of data. Can't quite make sense of it. So we have our year over. What was last year? What they're asking for now? We don't see that with other towns on this, do we? What is it? So, yeah. So there's a cost associated with this year, in all these towns. I'd love to know if all towns are going up 1,024%. Just
Yeah, impression you have for service.
I'm just on Warren's website right now, trying to look at their budget for this for last year.
If you recall, they did request the same amount last year, but because we had given them ARPA funds, Barbara was able to negotiate, so you may not see it in that report that the other towns have as big a jump, because they might have paid it last year, but because Ken gave them ARPA funds, Barbara was able to keep that $1,096. I think that's what their fee was.
Yeah.
Was able to keep it for one more year, and then they said that this year it would pop back up. So I don't know if you remember that, but yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
Ruth Epstein is also the representative, Ken's representative, and goes to those meetings. I'm not sure if I can maybe get her here tomorrow to answer some of your questions. I don't know her availability, or how much of your questions she'd be able to answer, but she, as you see, he said that he had sent that, Ruth was involved in the meeting where that was initially discussed, but we don't know if she will be able to answer your specific questions.
You'd say that we getting more involved with the Northwest Connecticut Transit, that there's a grant back to us, it's like a refund of sort, like about $1,000 or something of that nature, that we had missed out on for whatever reason. So then we'd be working with Brian to actually get that put in place. So that was the other plan for that. So
There's only 1,000?
yeah, so
For the special trips, that was 3,000.
No, Barbara said that we didn't submit some support for that or something, and I have to go back and clarify. She mentioned that offhand one time, and I'm like, oh, okay, we'll get back on that. But anyway, there's a thing we have to do with Northwest Connecticut, and then meeting with Brian, then participating in something. But anyway, there's a return on it for Kent. I believe she said $1,000, and maybe if it's a larger grant, that percentage would be one-time payment will be back or something.
Is there another grant for special trips?
I'm not aware of that 1,000. I knew the 3,000, but special trips. Oh, the grant that Leslie used to take advantage of, and they would go on a trip a month.
Oh.
But I think that's what they're charging for now, which is that $3,000. They're special trips that we didn't utilize. So Marty was able to negotiate that off because that was an additional expense that they tried to charge us for.
That was when they started.
But because we didn't have any in the interim, Park and Rec staffing issues.
That was a payment they're trying to recoup from July through September of last year. They didn't take any trips.
We looked at it, so
But can we apply for this grant?
we
Like
can,
on a
yeah,
regular
we can,
basis?
yeah, supposedly that's part of it, yeah. It's not, I don't know if it's qualified, it may be the qualification could be the special trips issued, but yeah, we can. And that's what Bruce wanted to help us with, getting us in touch with director over there. So.
Because that would be a little bit easier to swallow if we could actually get some money.
No, and there's actually other ones. There was some that I was just talking with Samantha today about social services, for funds and that WCCCA, whatever, has a program for transportation grants. And then there's some other money in the, again, looking at the state legislature to put towards something like that. But so there's one that is actually a grant that we just got in, and I asked Sam to look it up, open it up and find out what the grant requirements are. I just sent her an email tonight again. So we'll be looking at that as well. So that would be another source of funds that we could use for special senior trips or a special bus, or sharing the bus or things like that. That, it's actually a bigger transportation deals. I believe it's total $300,000 right now, but it's geared for the Northwest or the West. It was Western Connecticut, I think so. But yeah, we're going to jump on that as well. And I know there are, I know Sherman has a bus of their own, and they do transport people back and forth around, and probably in the Dam area or maybe other areas as well. Warren borrows a bus or uses a bus on occasion outside of what we have, in Northwest Connecticut. So, then there's a bus that's down this right down here. I'm gonna give that up. And you're not,
You gotta put it in writing.
Yeah.
But that bus is, I think that bus is more complicated in terms of like senior transportation, because they're going to be conflicting times.
Hopefully they're using it. But yeah, gotcha. Okay, yeah,
So do you guys think like we're probably gonna have to just pay this $12,000?
I think we're going to pay this right now. I don't want to interrupt what we do have. No, we don't. And if we have ARPA fund in support of that before, and it's reduced our budgetary amount, okay, then there's a reality coming back.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with it this year. Let's see how it goes this year. I think it's worth an increase, or from what we had paid before. But it's an amount. Yeah, we need it. We do. Yeah, because it has the capability, and if they have more people, and we can get more buses over here as well under that amount, bring the services. And get involved with getting that grant.
Make sure that it gets used.
Yes, I'm calling for it. We should give it lunch. Right, okay. Anything else in the grants or associations? Didn't have anything else. We'll do it on the GIS amount, if we get an actual amount that the association paid for, make sure that's in the description of what our line is. And see what the cost is. We don't that much, but we'll just make sure we know what the amount is. So back to your question about tomorrow, I guess it's correct, a big one. People here from the town clerk, fire department, and then EMS specifically.
I think since I didn't show up, that we're just gonna have to.
I mean, we can make them, but if they can write, get something in writing by.
They're volunteers, Marty.
I understand.
And since we all don't get those texts, they could be out on the call.
Yeah. Could be. Yeah, let's say, can they add anything to the EMS if they can't, in writing them, if they can't appear, I understand too, they have something. And you want to look at the fire department budget, but we'll make sure we can.
They should send the budget though.
Yeah, I'll get back with Eric, I'm sure.
It's very detailed, I saw it, as a veteran member.
Barbara may have some of that, she doesn't put their tax returns and stuff in the shared folder.
Yeah.
So she may have.
They just approved it last night,
Yeah,
so it's not like, or actually it just came out recently. I mean, they approved it in, I think February or something like
Nothing but the final.
Yeah, but it just came out.
Yeah, I heard that too, so.
Do we want to talk about Swift House? Because,
Yeah, that's-
that was one thing people saying was concerned about not having, that the maintenance was being increased. And, I looked, Glenn, I went back and looked at that planning grant. After you share the information about how they're really not gonna look at anything until July.
Yeah.
The planning grant says the exact same thing, that they're not gonna consider any new requests until the new fiscal year. So. I don't know how we're gonna do plans. Because the RFP doesn't include, specify, specific plans.
Not that one, but so. So when we talk maintenance now, obviously the old pictures, it's a heck of a lot better than it was, but wow, that was pretty stunning. I mean, it looks like my old house, actually. But other things with the maintenance, obviously they used the maintenance and was used. And what exactly we're looking at with the maintenance itself? If we're gonna be.
Well, I mean, that could be how we fund paying for a new, I mean, I don't know how much it's gonna cost, but, entrance and handicap bathroom.
Oh, that we're gonna have, I mean, sure, but if maintenance wise, I'd be willing to go half of what was last year, 19,000.
It was reduced because that was the architect's fee. That's why it was reduced. It wasn't just arbitrarily reduced. The fee for the architect was removed.
Okay, was that, okay, so the architect.
Which is 15,000.
Right. So it's actually.
So it's been between 76 and 45. But there's also 10,000 for repairs.
So go back to what's repairs and maintenance.
I just think we're gonna need to do things there.
I agree, but again, I think once the proposal comes out, when we get something on what the architect's recommendations or whatever we want to call that.
But we have to submit something to the Board of Finance. And we know this is not going to help. This is not going to be enough to do what needs to get. There's not even a portion. I mean, at this point, we couldn't even fund, let's say they have a 20% match for something with a grant.
Well, if we were to do a grant, yeah, well, that would have to be a whole. I'm just thinking that the number, whatever it is, we're talking a heck of a lot of zeros and A's here, but I'm not sure. I'm not ready to go with that right now. We're not actually looking at what the architect said needs to be done or recommends being done to do certain aspects of it. And then,
where are we with the architect? Have we received anything?
Sorry?
Have we received anything from the architect? So we know nothing from the architect. We're still gonna have a meeting on the 15th.
Yeah, but that's just with the
But
state
that's
grant.
I'm just,
Yeah.
that's still happening. Okay.
oh yeah.
Right. So, well. I mean, Joyce, anything you see that needs maintenance currently on
Well, there's a lot of things, but as I stated at the meeting that I spoke, I don't want to go ahead and do the repairs on the porch, and then the architect comes and says, oh, we need to demolish that porch because that's where we're putting the ADA ramp. So I haven't done anything yet. I mean, I know that there's windows that need to be done. I know, there's a lot of work, but when I prioritize it, I want to make sure that I'm not going to do something that is then immediately going to be undone to gain access to the building. So kind of waiting for that report.
Yeah, the reality is you've got until June 30th to spend the money. So, but after June 30th.
Right, but that's where I think until we see the proposal, until we see the results of the proposal, I can't really put a number against that. That makes any sense. I mean,
I know, but we're in a between the rock and hard place here where we have to submit our budget to the Board of Finance.
correct.
And we don't have the information from the architect to have any clue.
Correct, but come on, I mean, common sense is gonna tell you it's going to be in a.
The last
number.
meeting, we thought that this was gonna happen sooner than later. This is gonna happen in a week or so. So the architect was gonna have to issue a report. So we weren't gonna meet with the architect. He was gonna
Go forever to get here.
So-
I don't know necessarily all with it's causing. I mean, I haven't heard, so we asked, we call, I know Santa.
So I personally think we need to put a little bit more money for next year's budget.
So that's not, okay, then we have to create a new line because that's neither maintenance or repair, that's actually construction.
We've done construction under these two lines in the past.
Okay, all right. Let's hope for that. Sam, would you like to chip in here?
You're muted.
Oh,
Dan, you're muted.
There's been a lot of maintenance work to the building that's unfortunately been delayed, that is to the detriment of the safety of the building. There's a lot of exterior painting that can protect the clapboards, the stair railings, many aspects of the house that will stop the deterioration and rot and infiltration of water and, the potential for squirrels and mice and bats to get in the building again. And it really we need to keep up with that. There isn't enough money in this year's budget to do all of it at once, but you can chip away at it and prioritize the things that need attention most instead of just not doing anything and waiting for what, I don't know. I would really, seriously, I would love to walk around the building. We didn't have a chance to do that when we met there the last time, but line up painters, get the work done just so the building is protected while we're contemplating what needs to be done in the future.
I agree with you, absolutely. We should do that. We should take the money we have now and see what we can do to get exactly. Dan, I'm with you on that. So next year, it's what the idea of putting some kind of a cost to what we have the architects looking at right now without having an architectural answer or, an estimate of potential costs and then design and all that stuff, because that will where the recommendation for ramps and other stuff go, and certainly in the outside will have some effect on what we have to do outside.
The porches are actually in pretty good condition, but if you look at the outside of the building, the paint is peeling in many places and needs attention. And you don't need an architect to tell you that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but no, yeah. So I see that.
So between maintenance and repairs, how much has been spent this year? 14.
Just the architect money so
Just the
far.
architect money, yeah. So we still
15,000 left to
We have
spend by June 30th.
we have 15,000 left this year to do something with the house.
Right. Yep.
So I would suggest that we do some of these repairs, since it's still our building,
Yep.
town building. We do want, I mean, whatever's gonna happen with this, it's gonna require money. But for the time being, we have some money in the budget, and I'd say we need to preserve the house as much as we can.
I agree.
So as part of, like Zan, anytime, if you want to come in, where are you now? If you don't mind me asking, I know you're.
I'm in New York, but I'm going to be back in Kent tomorrow night.
Okay.
Hey.
If you guys want to, come up, the committee, get them and make a recommendation of where they want to start first, I'm all for it.
That would be great. Thank you.
Well, absolutely. No, it's spend the money we have, my gosh.
So Zan, so when we meet on the 15th at 10:30, we can walk around the house and we can see what kind of, what we can do immediately.
Yeah, but we could even meet before that, because the kinds of maintenance I'm talking about don't affect what an architect would recommend for all the interior work that needs to be done.
Okay. So you're saying sooner than
What Absolutely. I agree. Totally agree with that. But we have the money to fix.
I mean,
what you
spring
can
is
do, but
coming and we need to, painters get
Okay.
busy as soon as it gets warm, and we need to line people up and get bids so that we can get work done.
So the task force will meet at Swift and
You're the guy from our team.
give you an email
Yeah.
about okay. So does that be it's not a special BOS meeting? It'll just be.
Honestly, no, you're the rep to that whenever they want to have a meeting and you're part of that. I'd say, let's do that and then we'll look at putting out the, whatever we have to do for painters or repair work or whatever it is, whatever you guys decide.
So Zan, how about this? Why don't you, if you want to reach out to the rest of the task force and let's meet next week before the 15th, actually. So we can meet at the Swift House there and we can walk around and see what we think needs to be done in the short term. And then on the 15th, you won't be there, but you will, and we'll have a special BOS. And then we'll have a special BOS meeting with the state folks on the 15th. We'll have some information for them.
Your schedule is probably more complicated than anyone. So if you could text me and let me know a few times that you would be available to meet, my week next week is totally open.
You got it. I'll do that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, no, thank you. Good. Okay, like money spent and which things that need to be done. But as far as, again, as far as actually budget for next year, which is what we're really looking at.
Yeah, so getting back to the number of the budget.
I'm not comfortable making that number until we know. It's like everything else.
I just think 15,000 between repairs and maintenance is not enough.
But I agree.
It's not even like, well, it's just ridiculously low, knowing what we're going to be facing.
True, but then that's what I'm saying. Then you need a whole new line because it's going to be a major construction issue. It's not a maintenance. It may be a maintenance of what's there, not a repair of what needs to be fixed. It's going to be a whole new.
We're not going to put a new line in. We're gonna put it under either maintenance or repairs.
Lynn, you've gone down time and time again. You said this isn't enough information to actually make a thing. We need to have more information on it. We need to put a line in for something more specific. And now you're saying what it's gonna do.
But we don't have it. So I also want to make sure that we have a budget that makes sense that we're sending to the Board of Finance.
Right.
In an ideal world, we would already have the information, but we don't, so.
Yeah.
So this would be new money you're suggesting for ADA upgrades?
Well, with that, in the kitchen, I mean, things that the RFP was meant to look at and see what to do. And if we want to act on that, which I think we would, at least look at it and figure what our action plan is, we need to have that information. So, yes, Zan, would you like to add to it?
There are two different things that would need attention. One is the work that we're doing with the architect to do interior improvements and especially the ADA compliance issues. In addition to that, there are actual repairs and maintenance. There are rotting windowsills and door sills and a lot of wood on the exterior of the building that we haven't had the money to address. And that really is repairs and maintenance. So however you want to put it in the budget, doesn't matter to me, but there really does. I mean, I agree with Lynn, there needs to be more money for actual repairs and maintenance. And then you need to figure out how you want to deal with the ADA issues and the other interior work that needs to be done. I mean, I know the architect will say the windows need attention. I don't know if they'll say it's more economical and better for the building to replace them entirely, or if you can do some repairs to them. And I'm looking forward to their input on that. But we need more money in the budget to deal with those things, separate and apart from any interior changes.
Yeah. Good, very good points. Very good. There is no, all right, let me ask a question in general that I'm not sure. Is there any number limit to amount we could put in an operating budget that would grab the Board of Finance by the, ears and shake them up and then cause all kinds of other issues. I mean, if we said we need 200,000 just to look at, just in general, grab a number to put in ADA, you know, and bathroom and put in access, and work
Capital
on.
expense, 200,000 is definitely a capital expense, but for the finances, not gonna.
Yeah. Unless we did a special allocation or something, and that would be different than an operating budget. That's kind of what I'm getting to be honest with you. Till we get that number or an idea of what it would look like, and then go back and say, okay, this is what what we really want and need to do. If we really want to do this, is what we really need to do, at least to start with. And then Zan's whole point about other maintenance and repair, yeah, we'll have to look at that. And I mean, if you wanted to kick up the lines on maintenance and repair, go another 5,000 if you want to, whichever line you want to put it in.
Okay.
I mean, I do that to start with, if that's what you want, because we're going to keep the building anyway. Yeah, just to have that operating fund.
To replace sills and to paint and to just, again, regular upkeep. That's what we're talking about with this.
Right. At that point, yeah, right. Things like that we could do that's not going to affect any changes in the structure of the building itself to work on what we're asked the architects to work on, to look at and give us estimates on ideas on how we could do it.
So right now we have 15,000 to play with this year.
Correct. And next year.
And you're asking to kick this up for 5,000.
I said I'd give for maintenance repairs. If
Maintenance
I would do that, I'd do another 5,000.
How about 10?
That would bring us up to at least 20,000 to be able to do maintenance and repairs, though.
Yeah, I would do 5. I wouldn't go 10.
No, I'm saying that adding it to the 5 that's already
Gotcha.
there.
Correct. Yeah, I could put it to 15, you could put it 10. I go back to 10, and I would do that.
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, for now. And maintenance repair, then I think we're gonna have to, I just know the number is gonna be. I mean, anytime you start doing that kind of work, it's gonna be a number, and I think having that report, we're gonna have to have that before we go in with any numbers to the board. Like,
We do.
Right.
Totally.
We need
I
that.
totally understand that.
Saying that.
And that report is gonna help us, figure out what grants we can apply for.
Exactly. Steve, yeah, Don, question or comment?
Yeah, you've got $30,000 that's gonna be funded fiscal year 2026. What's that for? In the capital fund?
HVAC.
That was for HVAC.
Okay, then you get another 75 in fiscal year 2028.
That was the start of the renovation money that they put in as a placeholder.
Okay, and there's the 150,000.
That placeholders for potential repair.
So one thing we could do is refund the capital plan, which has definitely been done before. When we get to that point.
We've done it. Definitely.
Particularly if we need some grants.
Right, yeah, no, it's true.
At least
And
we're,
that's
if we're
what
applying
too.
for,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
did that. The creative financing is gonna come into effect here, and it becomes, cause like the government, yeah, obviously, the government is. But that's how you do it, I mean, that's what I would.
So you're saying 5,000 extra for
Put it in the repair,
for
put a 10
repair
I think that's
or
what I
maintenance?
just put it. I mean, it could go like that.
Maintenance lines right now.
Yeah, so I put in the maintenance lines, okay.
It's right there.
Put it right there, it just, to me, it isn't a big issue, but.
Up to 10. Going to 10.
Line 351.
351.
Yeah. We can number.
351.
Numbers are helpful.
Okay.
351. Okay. Going to 10.
Anything else?
You want to vote on it?
Yeah.
Love to vote on some things.
You got any of these things?
Well, I think because there's some we haven't voted, some we have, but there's gonna be other cats and dogs.
Yeah.
We'll do the bottom line with everything as amended.
Yeah.
That would be the omnibus measure. We can, if you want, vote on it now.
No.
No. Let's see it tomorrow.
Just like, I feel like we're making some progress.
Well, you are, actually.
Yeah.
Good. Any issue with the KCS ball field maintenance?
I really think
That needs, They need that.
Well, their
Yeah.
parking lot wants it to stay at
Oh, I
30,000.
no, I'm like, yes, I'm a fan of that, you know, me, I love take care of properties like that. There's a lot more, I know you have other budgets in there, capital. I just look at anything else that was left over that I didn't.
And I did walk the fields after the meeting. And you're right that the fields are definitely better than those pictures that were shown, but the soccer field is still not wonderful. It really does still, I mean, the baseball fields definitely look much improved.
Yeah.
But the soccer field is not still.
And we have the
twist
field
an ankle.
softball field, whether that's, you know,
So this 30 is for baseball or for soccer?
It's for soccer and baseball.
Soccer and
but it really
baseball.
needs, I mean, the outfield, basically, you know, the infield's pretty good, they've done a nice job of that, but yeah. Walk anywhere there, just the moles, the different types of grasses that are there, and hard grasses, soft grasses. If you're in the middle, you see where it's open, dug up by the geese and.
The geese are bad, you can tell.
Yeah, that, but my dog eats them. Clean my shoes, but no, seriously, it needs to, you know, get the turf back in shape for people when they trip and fall and hurt themselves.
Yeah, and Jared told me that included in that is work to the backstop.
Yeah.
Included in that, so.
Yeah, that was like done correctly. They put, you know, the windmills are nice. The Lions Club did it one year, and people were that. We did that dugouts, we redid the backstop, but it's wood, and after a while, that was 5 years ago. You know.
Is there supporting documentation for that light?
No, it's part of the park and rec. It's part, I mean, if you look at the park and rec, the spreadsheet, it's at the bottom.
It's at the bottom.
It's all detailed with that 30,000 stuff.
Alright, guys, I'm okay with where we are right now, so we're 8.
Okay.
And we'll pick up tomorrow. Yeah, and we'll make sure we go home.
12 o'clock show.
12 o'clock show. And drink lunch. Yeah. So listening and then we're going to
Somebody say.
Are you anticipating we'll be able to have a vote on the bottom line tomorrow?
At best we have now, Barbara recommended just 3% for the school as again, a placeholder because we haven't gotten their budget until next week, next week, but we can do that with the stipulation that it's a placeholder amount for the school. I mean, it's any amendment we make as we go along, we'll just include all those amendments, we have them on record. We'll make sure that it's there, if there's any stipulation that, because we do not have yet their prepared budget, we'll submit this with a placeholder until we get the formal budget, and then we'll deal with that with the board of finance. We kind of did the same thing when I was there a couple of times. We didn't have it done. Everything else. We've asked for an update on high school budget because what they had was, I mean, I got a peek at it. There's some changes that they're doing through, I guess, Sam was going to get Barbara a new one. I haven't seen the committee yet. That's part of what the overall education budget.
Right, it's a big part.
That's huge. Yeah, exactly. Public comment, unless you guys have anything else. Wait. Okay, anything else? No. Anybody else, public comment? Okay, great, thank you so much. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Yeah, second, and I'll take the second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.